Sham is our guest here, but Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, and it's very interesting. This new book he has out, Better to Be Feared, about the Patriots organization. And it's interesting to me, Seth, how you were able to get this access to the team, because the Patriots organization for the last 20 years under Belichick, especially, very insulated, very secretive. You would think even the KGB couldn't crack the codes of some of the things that they are up to and the way that they're operating. And were it not for the fact that they were trying to bust some John at that Asian spa in Jupiter, who knew anything about Bobby Kraft? And imagine the cops are sitting there on the surveillance car and they're going, "Hey, you'll never believe we just walked in there. Isn't that the guy that owns the Patriots?"
Oh, my God.
Otherwise, we know nothing about this organization. How were you able to gain this kind of access to get on the inside and actually be internally involved with the Patriots organization?
Yes, they're secretive. I mean, the composing coaches around the NFL call Belichick and the Patriots organization the Kremlin. But
the guys all around the table, every one of them had a casino destination as their favorite vacation. And Marty Sachs' wife, the lovely Vicky Sachs, stepped up to give her version of what her favorite vacation is. And she's in the travel business, so she's been everywhere. I mean, she's talking about safaris in Africa. Lubie, you've been to Thailand.
Yes.
And she said when she first met Marty, after about 15 trips together, she finally looked him in the eye and said, "Can we go somewhere that doesn't involve a casino?"
Life story.
Why? And every guy's story involved some kind of casino trip. It was either Vegas or, in my case, a racetrack or the Bahamas. Every single one of them involved a casino. And all of the women were just on the opposite page. Right? They're talking about having wine and cheese outside somewhere in Tuscany. And we're thinking, all of the guys are looking at each other as this conversation is taking place. And what the hell's the point of that?
I love it.
the time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
On a beautiful Tuesday here, as we originate from South Florida on Ion Channel, it's the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest along with one Mike Lubitz. Couldn't be happier than to have you guys with us as we get into that stretch of time that's known as the annual No Man's Land. We're in No Man's Land right now. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we already have kind of an early. What happened to the Hebrew calendar? What year is this, by the way?
I don't know, 57 something.
The Hebrew calendar. It's 57, right? In the year 20, what is that? 25. We're almost there, man. Zager and Evans, it was their one hit song, and it was a disaster. Every time you hear it, you just have to put a fist through the radio dashboard there and try to punch that song off. But nonetheless, yeah, we already had Hanukkah get underway. So I don't know if that sets anybody back like Christmas does for whatever reason. It has a different feel to it altogether from a social standpoint. And it's not like people are running around, all over the place going, "Hey, happy Hanukkah, everybody." But you will hear a lot of Merry Christmases expressed. And here we are. We're kind of in no man's land. Are people doing business? I have a lot to do in the next couple of weeks, Lubie. I'm hoping this is... See, you're not familiar with the movie, the great Dustin Hoffman flick. Kind of put him on the map, Kramer versus Kramer.
I've heard of it. I've seen it.
He's like married to Meryl Streep. They're not getting along. Streep is dissatisfied. She's distant. She's got indifference setting in. And all of a sudden, she's leaving. A guy gets fired on Christmas Eve.
Oh, geez.
Which in the radio business, that's when this happens. But he's in advertising. So now he has to get a job on like Christmas Eve, or he will not be able to get custody or any kind of shared custody of his kids. And it might have been one kid. But anyway, so he's running around everywhere trying to get appointments on Christmas Eve. I might think about that. It's already started. So we have to take advantage, Lubie, in the next couple of weeks. I think everybody just answer your phone calls, return your emails. If it's regarding business and you're contacted by us, please just acknowledge that we exist. We'll be very happy about that. Anyway, good to be with you here. So many things happening. I know, Lubie, you wanted to get into this because you're Mr. College Football. And later on this hour, we'll have Dave Hyde of the South Florida Sun-Sentinel with us here on the show, the outstanding South Florida columnist who is pretty much universal. I think he's had some syndication in his lifetime because whatever outfit it is that owns the Sun-Sentinel now has its tentacles in other newspapers, although they are evaporating and drying up like there's no tomorrow, as might be the case with terrestrial radio.
Yep.
As you look at what's going on, where we actually have 2 stations in town that were competing sports stations at one point in time. One was actually put on the map directly because they thought, wow, we can take the audience away from the other one. And then they ended up being owned by the same company, and they're broadcasting the same shows, both stations, pretty much all day long. So what do you think? Is that is that the Grim Reaper? I mean, speaking right there. Well, we can't afford to have guys on both stations, so why don't we put everybody on, the same station and have it simulcast together? Which makes no sense, right? I mean, they're like a couple of punches away on the radio dial. So that's the business that we had chosen. We're glad to be here on Ion Channel, where the future is. But wow, what a future for your man Brian Kelly, and. I don't know. That was rumored, though, that supposedly, at least I think I read something online, and you don't know what to believe anymore, but where he was rumored to be a candidate for the USC job. Now, I don't know how much more money he could have milked out of Notre Dame. I'm sure he's as highly paid as they possibly can make him.
Yep.
And you see how the maneuvers go, and it's not bad to have your agent maybe drop, the idea that, yeah, you know what, Brian might be leaving Notre Dame. And we've seen it work. The guy at Penn State, Franklin, right? He got a huge extension. You mentioned a couple other guys yesterday on the show that got huge extensions. This happens around the NCAA tournament also. Some guy like Shaka Smart is making a run with VCU, and all of a sudden the rumors are flying that he's going to be leaving. And then the school that he's at, well, in this case, it didn't happen that way, but the school that he's at says, okay, or all the other coaches that are significant start getting big money from the administration because the speculation is they might go somewhere else. So that could have been dropped in there for any purpose, that Brian Kelly was possibly being sought after by USC, who ended up actually, luring a guy away from Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley, who is always in hot demand and supposedly was a lock to stay there.
Yeah.
And now Brian Kelly opts to go to Louisiana State. I'm always baffled by this, as I am by the baseball free agency, the amount of money.
Oh, that was
out there today. Max Scherzer, I mean, is 37 years old. Now, he had a good season last year. Excellent. He's 37 years old. And the Mets just signed him to a 3-year, $130 million contract, $43 million a season.
Like so Mets.
For a guy that, like, tomorrow could be a shot fighter. We don't know. Although he acquitted himself very well this year, made a good account of himself, and I think he was like 13-7 with some tough luck losses and pitched to a 2.46 earned run average, not shabby by any standard in Major League Baseball. And we know he's kind of a bulldog out there, the old Arl Hershiser thing. Not a bad guy to have out on the mound when the money's on the table. Yet he did falter a little bit in the postseason, Max Scherzer. He wasn't as lights out and dynamite and sharp as he was during the regular season. But still, I mean, the Mets looking to make a splash. You know, it's funny. The way things are reported today, Lubie, there's so much paranoia in sports that the first thing I saw after Mike Nyman, our good friend Mike Nyman, sent me a clip that said Scherzer might end up with the Mets, and this was yesterday. And, of course, it happened. It was consummated yesterday. And the first thing that came up was, there must be something wrong with DeGrom. Like, I don't know. Wouldn't the attitude be this is the best 1-2 punch now in baseball? You have Jacob deGrom, who nobody can get a hit off, and then Max Scherzer, who you know is going to give it everything that he has every time he takes the hill. And after that, I mean, you can kind of get by with like so-so pitching, but the money's staggering in Major League Baseball, and even more staggering in college football coaching. And it always begs the magic question: if this is an amateur sport. I don't know. I mean, the first thing that popped in my head was, where the fuck does this money come from? Where is it coming from?
Great.
It's an amateurism. I mean, to have this, I guess they finally got the cloak of amateurism, sort of like the curtains rising a little bit on that.
Nah, that's gone.
Does anybody believe that for a second? How do you have $110 million at a state school in Louisiana to pay a football coach over? How many years is that for? Is that like a 10-year deal that they gave Brian Kelly?
Yeah, it's like 10. That's like the thing. 10, 100, 10, 90 million.
People were shocked when Gruden got that from that crazy man, Mark Davis, who runs the Las Vegas Raiders. Right? I mean, a guy with a Buster Brown haircut, you have to wonder. And a whole lot of his dad's money to spend. Although he does seem like, I saw a profile of him, I don't know if it was on 60 Minutes, I think it was, of Mark Davis, and he seems like a decent enough guy. Like he sort of gets who he is.
Yeah, he's not
which
as weird
you
as
can
he
have
looks.
respect for. Yeah, Ma, I need a football team. Anyway, the dough is crazy because I mean, John Gruden, when he got that $100 million deal to come out of retirement and coach the Las Vegas Raiders, it turned out to be somewhat ill-fated. Who do you think the rat was? Who was the mole? Was it Snyder?
Yeah, oh, for sure. That screams Snyder. Here, look at him. Over there, him.
Was it Goodell? I mean, Goodell had every reason, and that's the finger being pointed at Roger Goodell right now. How come it was my emails that were leaked? They couldn't even get to Hillary's emails,
Yeah, that's
much less John Gruden's emails doing them in. But and it is odd. I will have to say this in his defense. Not that the things that he had to say weren't, if he meant them, reprehensible, but nonetheless, I mean, it wouldn't be reflective of the kind of guy that you would like to have in a leadership role in your company.
No.
Unless your company was like the Ku Klux Klan.
Exactly.
I mean, the guys with the cone-shaped sheets on their head could appreciate statements like Gruden was, actually, I don't know if you want to say caught, but ended up making in print where people could see him. But how was it? I mean, honestly, how was it that only we haven't seen a single email from anybody else that was involved in this communication chain? There, 650,000 of them were all inconsequential, except the 4 that condemned John Gruden, and somehow they made it to the New York Times. It's kind of like that scene in Shawshank Redemption when Timothy Robbins, has gotten out and he's gotten over and he's at the bank and he has the scathing indictment against the warden and everything that's going on at Shawshank. And he says to the lady, the secretary, as he goes out the door, "And if you wouldn't mind, could you possibly put this in today's outgoing mail?"
Yes. What a
And
move.
he sent the stuff, obviously, to a newspaper, and the guy's looking at it, the reporter, like, holy crap, look what I fell into here. And the warden blows his brains out. But, I mean, how is that possible? And who is responsible for that being the only information
Snyder.
in that entire investigation that ended up being leaked to the media? John Gruden's emails. But he got that $100 million, and people were absolutely flabbergasted, Lubie.
Yep.
Saying, how can anybody pay this much money for a football coach? Now, there probably were guys, I don't know, were there guys in that $10 million a year range already? There had to be.
Fisher, Saban.
Your boy Jimbo Fisher, yeah, Nick.
Winnie may be around there. And I think that's it.
And you just have to wonder, I mean, how is it possible that an academic institution that is trying to promote better health through interscholastic athletics?
Are you kidding me?
Isn't that what it says in the NCAA handbook?
Are you kidding me? I was there. I taught on the college level. Professors don't make professors are like living check to check. They have to do research yearly to make real money. Like it's such a load of garbage.
Publish or perish, man. That's the thing. You got to be writing all kinds of crazy articles. Hey, I got this in the Harvard Medical Journal.
They don't make.
You can't fire me now.
Like, come on.
I mean, they live and die by that, much like we do by trying to attract sponsors to this program. Which I mean, they might question what they're doing with their money.
Don't question. It's a great.
Anyway, they didn't question paying Brian Kelly a lot of money. He did a good job at Notre Dame. He had a real upside record. Notre Dame's one of those situations we saw. It's not necessarily a fix. It's not necessarily a given that they can sustain the level of excellence that they've pretty much been known for throughout their history. I mean, whether you're a Notre Dame fan or not, you can't deny that they've had an excellent football program, always been prominent, always meaningful, great fan base all around the country, all around the world. Even the Pope is wearing a gold helmet these days. Unbelievable.
And they have crazy standards academically. Like other schools, the SEC, you can pull a lot of moves when it comes to getting kids in. Notre Dame isn't. I think it's like a 3. It's like a weird ass GPA you have to have, which is not easy when it comes to athletics. So it's actually harder to win at Notre Dame. So what he's done at Notre Dame is actually impressive. And it's an interesting hire for LSU. I just love that the day before he's telling everyone, oh, did you see what Tomlin said? Like, how would I leave unless they give me $250 million? And then the next day. Exactly.
Imagine recruiting, the recruiting meetings at Notre Dame. Okay, we need a 325-pound white guy with a 3.6 grade point average.
Like, good luck.
And aspirations of going to medical school.
Exactly.
Go find me that guy. Oh, and he has to be able to block.
Yeah.
Like the most fierce pass rushing defensive lineman anywhere on the planet. And, and then at the same time, we want him going to class and make sure that he has plenty of time left over to go to practice, even though he's studying 12 hours a day to try and pass a couple of tests his freshman year. That can't be easy, right?
Wow.
Duke, I mean, kind of lightened up a little bit on their academic standards, did they not? Always used to get some very well-polished, well-spoken individuals out of the Duke basketball program, Coach K, in his final year. But they started to lighten up their standards a little bit. Nobody knows how Zion Williamson got into the school. Nobody. By what standards? Not that he's not intelligent. I don't mean to imply that. I don't know. I mean, he might be an academic giant, but for some reason, not a lot of questions were asked about how he managed to circumvent almost all of the parameters and guidelines of the Duke admissions process, and somehow, with a big pocket full of cash that went to his father, ended up playing the low post there for the Blue Devils, and did a fine job there for the 1 year that he was there. I mean, why would you want to compromise your standards just to win? That's right there. I mean, the ethics of college sports wouldn't allow that, would they?
What a joke.
I don't know. I wonder what Tony's going to have to say about this tomorrow. Tony Segreto. He's a diehard Notre Dame fan. He loves Brian Kelly.
Yep.
And he wants to believe in his heart of hearts that the standards are still there intact in college sports, where you actually are competing interscholastically in an athletic competition designed to enhance your overall physical and mental well-being.
Okay.
Nice. $110 million for a coach. That's pretty incredible. Monday Night Football last night, kind of a boring one, right? Washington football team, nobody cares about them. We like Ron Rivera, the head coach of the team. I kind of like this Heineke story, the quarterback that was like the ninth string. Nobody even knew he was on the roster. He gets a chance to start. He shines in that start, which happens, more often than not. I don't know if that's true, but it happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
Where the guy comes in there, he's a total schmank, nobody ever heard of him, and goes out there, has a big ball game. And more often than not, you would find that guy would just bounce right back to the pack in his very next start, like this Mike White guy did for the New York Jets this year. Goes out, throws like 5 touchdown passes. Everybody's celebrating. We got the second coming of Joe Willie. And then the very next game, it's 4 picks. He's on the bench, never to be heard from again.
Yep.
Which could be the case with your man, Kemba Walker. You scoffed at that, Lubie. I'll give you credit for one. Kemba Walker to the New York Knicks.
Ooh.
And I don't know. It seemed like a good move to me. I'm not sure that I thought he was as finished as it appears that he is. But on the bench now, out of the rotation, OOP, out of picture, my friend, gets 0 minutes out of the rotation. Hey, garbage time. Hey, Kemba, get in there.
Exactly.
Hoists a couple of threes there in the last 12 seconds of a ball game, hoping to get his name in the box score. And happy that it didn't appear there as a did not play coach's decision. That's pretty weird, right? That's your big acquisition in the offseason. Kemba's coming home.
Yep, they did a whole
Square
thing.
Garden.
They hung his jersey in the rafters. It was like a whole deal.
Wow, not exactly Chet Walker coming to the team there in his prime. That's for sure. So Washington, though, comes up with a win, a nondescript game there over the Seattle Seahawks, who are now 3-8.
What the hell? The Seahawks.
3-8. The most you see of the Seahawks, and it's kind of an odd combination. I mean, some of these companies that are selling, in the category of fast food, I guess you would put Submarine, the sub place. What is that? Submarine?
Subway?
Subway, yeah, Submarine.
What is he talking about?
I'm submarining a show here. Blanking on Subway. It's been a long time since I've been in a Subway.
I was going to say.
And I don't know that I'm boycotting it because Serena, the surly, sore-losing Serena Williams, is representing China.
Did you ever see?
Oh, yeah. Did you see him?
I liked it. Harvey, we'll talk with Harvey about it. He didn't like that it was focused on Venus. But see, I think people forget what happened. Like when they were coming up, no one knew who Serena was. Venus was the one you heard about for years. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, they're like, oh, her sister's better. And no one believed it. And then within like 2 years, Serena was just killing people. But it was good. I liked it. Will Smith did a good job.
A different level of power player among women tennis players. We thought Martina was pounding the crap out of the ball. And then here comes Serena. And now every girl hits it as if it was coming out of a howitzer. But not everyone, but most of them. I mean, the power players on the women's tour, it's an immense number. And they're all great. You wonder how they ever lose a point, the way these girls can play. But Serena really pioneered that style and was, the number one. She was like Christian Okoye
Yep.
what was to the running game for the Chiefs those couple of years where nobody could stop them. Kind of like a Larry Zonka approach, just running right through the middle there.
Yep.
And, had enough finesse to keep the game together. And, of course, the serve was her big weapon. But Venus was great. I mean, she laid a tremendous foundation. And, people forget about her accomplishments because Serena just blew by him.
Yep.
And, was the more recent of the greatness being exhibited by the Williams sisters by far. As Venus, as you said, you had her as a shot fighter, maybe 2-3 years prematurely. I'm a fan of Venus, and I root against Serena in every match, and I find myself rooting for Venus. And the fact that she's still out there playing to get knocked out in the first round by some qualifier in a 3-set, marathon, but nonetheless, she goes down. These are matches she used to win 6-0, 6-1.
Yep.
And, but she seems to go out there for the love of the game. It's a lot like Andy Murray. You always appreciate an athlete like that, do you not? Go out there just because they absolutely love it, even though it's become somewhat embarrassing.
Yeah.
They don't mind. And every now and then they surprise you and come up with a big match. But that may be past Venus Williams at this point. And I think it's also past Serena.
Yep.
I think you would also say that. But, the portrayal of Rick Macy, I believe the guy's name is, he was a coach.
Yep.
Was supposedly very good in this thing. I have not seen it.
You will like it. I don't think you're going to be critical of like who they focus on. It's very interesting because it describes Richard Williams very much the way you've painted him through the years. Sort of crazy, but also a genius. And it is very interesting. It's a good story. I liked it, and I thought Will Smith did a really good job.
And people that are sports fans, even though you would have to say that more than 95% of coaches are conventional coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Where, they do things that, anybody could figure out, okay, this would be the normal strategy, and that's what they go with. Very few innovators out there.
It's true.
So to be a coach that innovative in a sport that really is, when you see these young girls being trained, it's just, almost master discipline. Yep. That they have to adhere to. And, they lose a lot of their personality and persona to having to give up their youth to sit there and just hit stroke after stroke and shot after shot and, have some Marquis de Sade guy driving them to whatever level of greatness they're going to be able to achieve. But always good when you see somebody that does it differently. Yep. And, to do that with 2 young black girls from, Compton? Is that where they're from? Yeah.
Compton, yep.
Not exactly a hotbed of tennis talent. It's not like you're going to the Everett Academy here in Fort Lauderdale. And, they got broken glass on the courts and, all of the cracks. I don't know. You've played on some lousy tennis courts, I'm sure, or basketball courts where, the conditions weren't necessarily favorable to anything but tearing an Achilles.
Exactly.
A metal net. But, to rise to that level, I mean, not only phenomenal individual talent and determination, but you would have to say that Richard Williams, why didn't more people, adhere to his kind of methods as opposed to, what you would normally get at like the Bolletary or the Macy Academy or any of these places, IMG, our good friends from Altitude International, right? Have a tennis academy going, and you would picture that everybody's being hard driven, just like they were when you were watching young Agassi, and some of the guys that went to Bolletary, Sampras, and that whole crew. And you're saying, wow, I mean, with this kind of training, you pretty much sacrifice everything else in your life to be good at one thing, and in the long run, you would probably have to say that it was more than worth it, right? But why wouldn't somebody take this different route? I don't know exactly what he did. You know that he was taking these girls to the park and they weren't in the juniors and all of this stuff. That normally would be the common evolution of a tennis player. So very interesting. Any kind of coach like that, I don't know how many people really qualify as like wacko coaches like that.
Okay.
Mike Leach, maybe. I don't know. He goes against convention and seems to have success. You've had innovative coaches that have instituted their own systems where they got respect for that. But, that still was based on much more common practices. So you always have to respect somebody like that. I'll have to check it out, Lubie. I didn't get a chance to. Speaking of tennis and golf, Lee Elder checked out. Lee Elder, the first black player golfer to be in the Masters. I mean, he was kind of like a Jackie Robinson of sorts of the game of golf. I guess you could throw Calvin Peete in there in that period of time. And then Tiger made everybody forget. He actually did make people sort of colorblind, did he not?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure he heard his share of, hey, N-word, miss it.
God.
He's out, by the way, now. I don't know if that comes as any surprise to anybody, but announced yesterday that that's it. Going to play maybe an occasional tournament if he can.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because I saw him pop up. And I thought it was to promote how he's going to be back.
I figured he's coming back, and he's going to win the Masters this year.
Oh, he said he's done. Wow.
No, he said he will never return to like full-time golf. That he realizes that it's over. That he nearly lost his right leg as a result of this car accident, which details still. Isn't that amazing how certain things? I mean, this was almost Ted Kennedy-esque, was it not?
Yep.
Not quite. I mean, there wasn't a dead girl, but there could have easily been, and I think they still would have, overlooked. We don't know what happened in an accident. How is it that nobody was able to figure it out? A one-car accident, one guy. They had, I would imagine, some kind of, report as to what was in his system.
Oh, we've seen the video. He was annihilated.
Annihilated.
He was sober. He was woof. He shouldn't.
Why would Tiger ever drive while under the influence of anything after that hideous incident with the Mercedes-Benz in West Palm Beach? You would figure he would never get behind the wheel of a car while even slightly under the influence of anything. And it also begs the magic question: why don't these guys just hire a limousine service?
You think
wherever they happen to be, right? You get to L.A. Hey, Lo, okay, I have a car here. 6 o'clock. Tea time's at 7. Tell the guy to come out here. Tell Pedro to come out here and step
people.
on.
They can get an Uber X where it'd be the same thing as that, a lot cheaper and a lot quicker and easier.
Never makes sense. I guess you always feel good, until it actually happens. But in this case, a one-car accident where nobody else was injured and very serious, but going to knock Tiger out of the game.
That's crazy.
He'll still be favored in any tournament that he enters.
Exactly.
He's going to enter the occasional golf tournament there, but he'll be like 2-1 and probably win it. Can't take that away. That represents, of all the comebacks, that has to be one of the most monumental, if not the most monumental comeback. I'm sure that people immediately start thinking about, okay, well, what about this guy and that guy? But nonetheless, to win the Masters from where he was at. If you look at that video, that was like maybe a couple of years later after that arrest in West Palm Beach, and to come back and win the Masters from that position. His mugshot was it made Nick Nolte look like a high school senior portrait in that mugshot. Unbelievable. A lot of baseball activity. The Marlins have made some moves, Lubie. Did you notice that?
Yeah, they traded actual prospects for an actual player. Who knew?
They got a player, yeah. So they picked up a catcher.
Supposedly good. His numbers are
good.
Crappy.
They also signed as a free agent a guy named Avisail Garcia,
which is supposedly a nice addition.
4 years, $53 million for that guy. So they invested a couple of bucks. Now, is that out of necessity because their payroll is so low? Is there a low level like there is in the NFL parameter that
there is, but I don't
to exceed?
Yeah, there is, but I think it's because they promise that this is the offseason they're going to do stuff, so they have to do something. They tried to get Marte. They offered him a decent contract. They should have done it in the season. He would have stayed, but they missed out.
Ended up getting $20 million a year from the Mets.
Yeah, they offered him, I think, like 15 to 16. They were like
Starling Marte.
Less. But
where's this money coming from in baseball, though? Everybody says the game is dead. Look at these deals. Scherzer, 3 years, 130.
Yep.
That's in million, 130 million. Corey Seager, the Texas Rangers, all of a sudden are spending money like there's no tomorrow. 10 years, 325. It's up there with any of the biggest deals in Major League Baseball. They also signed Marcus Semien, who was, I think, third in the MVP balloting this year, and he's now with Texas. 7 years, $175 million. So where's all this money coming from? It's crazy. And the Mets are going to end up having the highest payroll in Major League Baseball because they've made several moves. They signed Marte and also made this deal now with Scherzer. And they've made other maneuvers as well as this Billy Epler has come in there. Steve Cohen living up to his reputation, the owner. They said, hey, he's going to open up his pocketbook and they're going to spend money like no tomorrow trying to be a winner again.
There you go.
Imagine that. Haven't had that feeling here since 1969. Mets and the Jets. It strikes me, though, that the people in the Tampa Bay Rays front office have to be absolutely howling. Did they just sit there with a bottle of Manischewitz on Hanukkah and drink the cherry wine until the sun comes up?
Like
they're over the bay there in St. Pete. They have to be dying of laughter, looking at these people, these desperate grasps at trying to be good. And now there's nothing wrong with star players on your roster. It obviously attracts fans. It gives people hope. And you're thinking, any day I could go out there, and even if my team loses, I might see Corey Seager go 4 for 4 or whatever, or Max Scherzer pitch a one hitter. So there's a lot to be said for having star power on a professional sports team or a college team for that matter. But the Rays have to be howling, right? I mean, just absolutely screaming in laughter that these teams are so desperate, and they're doing it with like a zero payroll, and they probably go out again and win the American League East.
Probably.
Regardless of what Cashman does, regardless of what they do in Boston. And by the way, remember when John Henry, everybody was laughing at him, mocking him, saying that, well, you know what? If he's too broke to own a team and build his own stadium, then he shouldn't be in baseball.
This guy.
So what's he do? He buys the Red Sox. They become like World Series champions, 3 times during his tenure?
Yep.
3? Did he win 3 World Series,
John
Henry?
2. That third one, I don't know if he was a part of, but
all right, and they've mostly been a significant factor in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Since he took over the team. They had a couple of down years here and there, but, all teams do. But they bounce back in magnificent fashion each time. And now they're buying the Penguins also.
Yes.
Pittsburgh Penguins. The guy's buying a hockey team. So there's a guy we mocked out of town, snickered as he left. Go ahead, John. Don't let the door hit you in the rear end.
Yep.
Crazy stuff. All right, we have Dave Hyde coming up from the Sun Sentinel here on Ion Channel. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz. It's the Defo Show, and we're broadcasting live audio and video streaming, IonChannel.com. Jack Namer, Amy, the fine people in that organization. Brad does a tremendous job engineering the show overall, taking on a much improved look in a short period of time. Mike Lubitz. So we're happy about that. If you're tuning in, glad to have you with us. We have our chat line going here. Big Possum has become one of my favorites.
Very active. I love it.
On the chat line. He says, is Scherzer's contract another Bobby Bonilla deal? He may make $250,000 for each inning pitched, and the Mets still not win at all. Pray he stays healthy. That's a big investment in a guy. This is all guaranteed dough, though, too. I mean, it's not like you can, shirk your responsibility to pay the guy. Bonilla getting $1 million a year for 25 years in deferred payments. Still gets $1 million. It's called Bobby Bonilla Day. I forget what day it is, but nonetheless, it'd be a nice day if it was your name on the check. That's for sure. $1 million a year. Thank you very much. There's the trust fund money, little Johnny. Don't spend it all at once at the track. Dave Hyde, outstanding columnist on this resurgent Dolphin team. The Heat took one on the chin last night. They were without a couple of their key players, obviously, as Butler was out.
And Hero.
And also Tyler Hero and Marquise Morris has been out since the Jokic incident with whiplash. That's kind of weird. If you see the way his head hit the ground there, I mean, his neck snaps back. It's ugly.
Yep.
And supposedly there was going to be a lot of bad blood spilled over again last night. That didn't happen, at least during the portions of the game I watched. The Heat were down like 20 points early in the contest there in the second quarter, and it maintained that way right to the end. Yeah. The final score even was deceptive as they lost by 9, but it was like 20 points a minute before that, and they hit a couple of threes in garbage time. But, they end up losing last night. So they fall behind now. Milwaukee didn't? No, Milwaukee didn't pass them. Who passed them? The Nets.
Bulls. I know
Brooklyn
the Bulls
Nets,
are behind them, too.
Well, Brooklyn's in first place.
Yeah, I think the Bulls
like either Chicago or somebody passed them now by like a half a game. So rough go for the Miami Heat last night on the hardwood here in South Florida. We're coming back with more. Speaking of South Florida, their preeminent columnist here. I know we have to pay homage to the great Greg Cody.
Yes.
Who, if I'm not mistaken, that can't be true, can it? Did he celebrate 50 years?
I think so.
At the Miami Herald?
Amazing. Yep, I think so.
50 years?
Yeah, it's crazy.
When did he start? When he was 12? I mean, how old is Cody? Anyway, Dave Hyde's been here like 30 years, writing for the Sun Sentinel or something close to it. So he's going to join us next year on Ion Channel. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz, Destination Sport Miami. They're still rocking, right? You talked to the top brass there yesterday, huh?
Yesterday, yep. Moving,
things rolling along? What's going on there?
Smooth. They got a lot of things working, a lot of things cooking, and it's going to be very exciting as we get closer. There's going to be they've already broken ground, but there's going to be like a big ceremony coming up, and we're going to, of course, be hosting that. So we'll keep everyone tuned into that, and we're going to start getting some of their people on, and I can't wait because when we talk to Randy Moss and Trottier and Jill Ellis and Levon and Glenn Rice at the presser, it was amazing. So I can't wait to get those guys on and gals
It's a
on our
nice group of guys. I mean, if those were the people that you had in your regular rotation of guests, you would have to say that you're operating at a very high level. So looking forward to making that part of the program here on ION Channel. And, of course, Destination Sport Miami. Look online. You can see what they're doing, destinationsportmiami.com. It's going to be the largest indoor multifaceted sports facility on the North American continent. And they're going to do a great job with all of the programs here in town and programs around the world. It's going to be an international kind of stopping point for many, many teams that are looking to get themselves in shape and ready to compete at the highest levels, and individual athletes as well. All sports involved, just absolutely fantastic. And yet something that local people can really take advantage of, too, here in South Florida. Going to be in the Doral area, Destination Sport Miami at destinationsportmiami.com. All right, coming back with Dave Hyde, outstanding columnist for the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Next on the Defo Show, I'm Jeff Deforrest. He is Mike Lubitz. And back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time
is 7:33. Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development, and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not. Because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? Why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Hey, it's Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet here for my friends over at Shenanigans Sports Pub. It's a great place to go to take in a game, a good meal, and a couple of drinks. My friend Patrick, he's been doing it a long time, and he's got 2 locations. West Side is right across from TY Park in Hollywood. And then the east side location is at 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Shenanigans is the place for wings, burgers, barbecue, fresh fish, anything you want, drink specials, late night dining, outdoor dining. It is the place to go, family friendly. Go to Shenanigans and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
David, are the Dolphins evolving into a well-run franchise? Chris Greer has made some interesting moves. I mean, regardless of what they've tried to do, they win 5 games, 10 games with Brian Flores as coach and Greer as the main guy in the general manager's chair. Now, with this small little fire they had going with Xavier Howard, they managed to put that out and douse those flames before the season gets underway. What's happening with this Dolphin franchise? Is it possible that they are finally on a path to go in the right direction?
Oh God, I hope so. How many years I mean, as a poor sports writer, having to cover mediocrity to less than mediocrity for most of 2 decades, I hope so.
Buenos dias. The cafecito is piping hot. Why not enjoy it with Defo and Lubie? It's now time for the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz with you here on Ion Channel, Jack Namer's fine organization. Once again, thanks to the lovely Amy and, of course, Brad and all the people at Ion Channel. They also want to remind you at Ion Channel about HST Insurance, where they understand how confusing this time can be, and they aim to help you, and they can help you. They're good people. Whether you're looking for yourself or your family, they have a plan that fits your needs, and their trusted advisors will design that for you, and they'll do it at no charge. They'll consult with you for free, give you all the right information and the right count. Call HST at 855-282-8022, 855-282-8022. With that, speaking of insurance, we always are insured that we're going to have a good time when we invite this gentleman onto the program, the preeminent columnist here. And once again, with apologies to Greg Cody, who, if that count is right, 50 years at one place, that can't be right. But nonetheless, and our favorite, of course, is the great Dave Hyde, multi-prize winning and award-winning columnist here for the South Florida Sun-Sentinel here in town. David, how are you, my friend? Did Cody really make 50 years at the Herald? That seems impossible. When did he count the years he was a paper boy? I mean, he doesn't seem old enough to be there 50 years.
He's a terribly old man.
He's an old. Hey, at least he didn't say hack. That's good. No, he still has his stuff. He still has his fastball.
Yeah, tremendous. 50 years. I can't even imagine being in one place for 50 years. But then again, who could imagine I'd be at the Sun Sentinel for, 35 years?
Wow.
So
35. Wow.
I'm not going to break his. I promise I will not break his record. That ain't going to happen.
Through possibly no fault of your own, you obviously in very good health. Still have your game together. Columns are always excellent. Yep. From Dave Hyde of the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. All right, many things, David, to get into here on the program, and not the least of which, and this is one of the great mysteries of life, and that is how under Brian Flores can the Dolphins... What's that?
You're good.
Oh, we lost you there. Okay, something was bleeding through here. How can the Dolphins under Brian Flores start every year like absolute dog meat and then rally? And once again, I mean, is this just part of the whole equation here in South Florida, like with the Panthers for so many years, where we are indeed the city of false hope? I mean, what do you make of that whole thing where all of a sudden this team is rolling and appears to be, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but with the Giants coming here and the Jets next up on the deck, you would have to think they have a legitimate shot of being 7-7 after losing 7 straight.
7-7. We're back to where we were.
Yeah.
When we started this mess, right? I mean, 3 years ago, back to a.
I'm happy to get there. Yeah.
This is what they were trying to avoid. Look at all points, and credit and tip of the hat for straightening their season up. But I mean, 1-7. That ruined the season. So yeah, it looks like they found some answers, and you look at Sunday, Jalen Waddle had a big game. Tua had a big game. Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, young players, which is something that's been missing, a component. But they're back on. Really, this is a team to some level I expected to see much earlier in the season.
Yep.
I'm with you on that. It was perplexing that they could be that bad, and then everybody. I mean, naturally, the Job Lynch mob, Mike Lubitz was leading the cry there for Chris Greer, and you had to wonder what the hell was going on because none of these guys had really surfaced. I mean, there were still huge questions about Tua, which I would imagine there still are, even though the guy just went 27 for 31 passing the ball in an easy win over Carolina. Although I don't know. That it isn't fair also to say that this level of opposition they've been facing of late outside of the Ravens, who do not look like themselves at this point in the season, and maybe that was triggered by that loss to the Dolphins, but it's not like they're beating the upper tier teams at this point. We would like to see them maybe distinguish themselves with a win over Green Bay or something like that if they were on the schedule.
Well, the good thing about Sunday was Carolina had a great defense. They were ranked second in the league in yardage and sixth in giving up points. So for the Dolphins to put up 33 points and for Tua to have that game and Jalen Waddle, I mean, there was some mystery to that. How did the Dolphins really have one dangerous receiver in Waddle? And he was constantly open over. What was Carolina?
Yeah.
How could they never adjust to take him away? But that said, the Dolphins scoring 33 points against that defense was impressive, and it's told you of some steps taken. Still, when they don't really have a great rushing offense, when their offensive line is, you watch that game, it's still getting pushed around. The receiving core, I guess Devontae Parker and Will Fuller, maybe they went, what were they, on an around the world trip or something like that? Are they going to come back this year? I don't know. So, yeah, that was impressive. 33 points that game. That showed steps taken.
We didn't know how lucky we were when we had Clayton and Duper out there. You can count on them every game, and then a little crash out of the backfield and Marino throwing a rock. That ship has sailed a long time ago. Well, we've been trying to get back there ever since. So let's hope there are signs of life here, Dave Hyde, that maybe the Dolphins are crawling their way back into the right direction. And, I don't know that you want to go Jim Moore on this thing and start talking about the playoffs, but it is nice to see any team bounce back that was getting hammered that badly and looked to be completely directionless and somewhat unmotivated from the front office all the way on down, or at least, as Lubie would say, appear to be clueless at that point. The Marlins are actually trying to make some moves here. We were just talking earlier before you came on, Dave, about how the people in the Tampa Bay Rays front office, they must just get together and gargle with Manischewitz and start howling when they see these free agent signings that are taking place in baseball, where you have a guy getting 3 years, 130, Max Scherzer from the Mets, Corey Seager, another 10-year, $325 million deal being procured up by Major League Baseball. But it's amazing to me. I mean, with all this money being spent, somehow the Rays always end up winning, and that would be the path you would think the Marlins would follow. But they have attempted to make a couple of moves. Is there any indication that they may be making the right moves, in your opinion, Dave Hyde, and that they will get past what was kind of a disgrace of a season last year?
Yeah, they needed a catcher, and they go out and they get Jacob Stallings, a good catcher from Pittsburgh, and someone who solidifies what's really it's been a disaster position last year. And they needed hitting, so they got some hitting, and evidently they're still in the market for some hitting, according to the national folks who follow this stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, everybody knew they have pitching. They got a lot of young pitching, but their offense has been a disaster. So if they're making the right, moves. Are they getting the right players? Will it all fit together? That remains to be seen.
How is it, though? It is incredible. How did the Tampa Bay Rays do it? They and the Oakland A's, I guess.
They're smarter than anybody, right?
Yeah.
They're just smarter than, that's what I love about, this. You got the Mets who are just spending like crazy again. And, there's those 5 teams up there who play a different game than everybody else because of the money. And then there's a team like Tampa Bay that is just smarter than everybody. And you know, they have to hit on every trade. They trade whenever anybody's about to make money, they trade them for younger players. And they have to hit on every one or their plan goes splat. And yet they do it. And meanwhile, all this money being spent, and you know, am I wrong? It just seems like the interest in baseball nationally is going down, and yet the money's still going through the roof.
Yeah, that's a default.
That must be a tremendous merchandise sales. So, I don't know. I mean, you know, and obviously the television deals with all these new channels, viewing opportunities. Yeah, probably pumped a zillion dollars into the coffers also. But no, it's staggering when you're seeing a shortstop hitting 265 in his career, and he's getting like $200 million, you know, from a team that's not even a contender and doesn't figure to compete anytime soon. Lubie, you have one for the great Dave Hyde here, South Florida Sun Sentinel.
Yeah, you can follow Dave on Twitter at Dave Hyde Sports. Wanted to ask you, since we're talking about all this money, it's funny that the big story, and Defo's not on Twitter, but on Twitter, that's where you find the Kane fan. If you're out and about, you don't really hear much Kane talk, but on Twitter, you still find some Canes fans. They all were ready for yesterday. Yesterday was the big day. The Canes were going to get their AD, and Manny was going to be gone. It was happening. It was done, and nothing happened. I know you cover South Florida sports as well as anyone. What have you heard about what Miami's doing? Because a lot of people, even in the business, are a little sort of confused at what's going on with the Miami Hurricanes and their AD/head coaching football position.
Yeah, color me confused. Look, they've had 2 weeks now 2 weeks since the firing of Blake James, and probably another 2 weeks or a month or 2 months when they knew they were, you know, he was on the hot seat and they start looking around for somebody. The fact that that position isn't filled, maybe they have some great big picture plan that will all unfold. But I was surprised. I was told after 2 weeks they'd have somebody, and here we are, and nobody. You know, I was told they've interviewed Alonzo Highsmith, they interviewed Gino Toretta, talked with them. You know, is there? You know, I'm sure there's other people they've interviewed that I don't know about, but you see these bold moves being made across college football. I mean, Brian Kelly to LSU, that's staggering. Lincoln Riley to USC. And speaking of baseball's money, look at college football money. Lincoln Riley, I mean, they bought his 2 houses in Oklahoma, $500,000 over cost. He's got free use of a private plane in USC. They're paying him out the wazoo. And I'm just waiting for Brian Kelly's terms to come at LSU, because if to pry him from LSU, and I get he lost twice to Alabama badly in bowl games, and he knew that, you know, to win in that, to win big, you got to go to a program like LSU, I guess, but I can the sum they paid must be staggering. Must be like an all the gumbo you can eat any time of the day. You know, I mean, so at some point we're going to see Miami's hand. Is Mario Cristobal, is he interested in the job to the point of leaving Oregon? Is Lane Kiffin in play at all? I mean, he wants the job. Is he in play? You know, some point. Meanwhile, Manny Diaz is out there recruiting on the road. I mean, you talk about a bizarre situation.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be here or not, but
come on.
I want you to come here. You'll be a star.
If he's going to be the coach, it's time for Miami to say he's the coach. And if not, don't put him in a position, or the recruits in a position where either he has to and in good faith, because you know, it's still his job. In good faith, he is effectively lying to them, and they're effectively having to sit there and wonder, is he? You know, what happens if they accept a scholarship, and the next day Manny isn't the coach anymore. So there's a lot of strange stuff going on in Miami.
It just struck me, and I was looking at the baseball deals. I had the same thought that you did. Where's this money coming from? But with college football, I mean, you're talking about a sport that essentially is based on the principle of interscholastic athletics being performed for the physical and mental well-being of its participants there. A nice friendly competition. And then they have $120 million to give a coach. And it's only like this year that they started to raise the curtain on the so-called cloak of amateurism and started to admit that, well, you know what? Maybe it is a professional enterprise, but wow, it is staggering. That makes you think, as you were answering Lubie's question, Dave. Where does all of that leave Miami? It leaves them kind of in the same no man's land that they, unfortunately have fallen into, where they're among those that are in the also-ran category at this stage to compete for national championships, and it doesn't look like that's on the horizon because they're just not in a ballgame with some of these other schools.
Yeah, and you look at a comparative school, at least a small little private school in a big city on the coast, in the USC. They went out and spent a ton of money for their head coach, and they have loud former players, alumni who've been upset in recent years. Their history is rich, but it's history in football.
Ancient,
it's past tense, and so a lot of comparatives to the University of Miami, and yet they went out and really shook the college football world by getting Lincoln Riley. Maybe Miami does the same in a not that Mario Cristobal's done what Lincoln Riley has, but that would shock the sports world too. But is he in play? I have absolutely no idea. That comes down to really him and how much he wants to come back to Miami, because there's really no other reason. From a purely football program wise, Oregon has everything, and Miami is second tier.
Yeah, I mean, once Phil Knight starts writing the checks there, it's a lot better than having Nevin Shapiro on your side financially as a backer there. Is he out, by the way, Nevin Shapiro? Did he ever get out of the can?
Out.
Seems like his time might have been up.
He is out, yeah.
Out? Okay. All right. So it's possible we make a comeback here.
He will write a NIL. That's what he really should do. Wouldn't that be great?
There you go.
Exactly.
He takes some Miami players under his wing and gives them money. That would be tremendous. That would everything full circle.
Have him represent those bogus grocery stores he had set up in South America, whatever, that the investors were getting fleeced
He'd
on.
be celebrated for giving money.
Exactly.
Celebrated for giving Miami players
same dude.
money. It'd be tremendous. The hypocrisy of college football would be on display right there.
So
a decade ago or whatever. How dare he take them out to dinner? Now, way to go, Nevin. Way to take them out to dinner, baby.
How was Thanksgiving, Dave Hyde? How'd you celebrate?
I stuffed myself. We do an annual thing in our house. Have friends in. Have been coming for 30, and I just overate. It was a tremendous effort by me.
Yeah, we're concerned about one of your former contemporaries at the Sun Sentinel, the great Mike Mayo, who joins us on Fridays as the Gambling Gourmet, because he almost was like Buster Douglas after he beat Mike Tyson, where he could not stop eating to the point of we're worried about a diabetic coma with this kid, because he also gets massive considerations every time he walks into a restaurant, because they're hoping that he'll say something favorable about him. So hopefully, I mean, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf after Thanksgiving. What's that?
Yeah, he's the big name. And what was that movie, Mystic Pizza, where the food critic walks in and everybody's getting all nervous? That's when Mayo walks in. but he used to
one word from Mayo can make or break a place. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think he's running marathons down.
He wields a lot of power, man. He's got a gavel in his hand there instead of a pen now. All right. Thanks so much, Dave. Always a pleasure, my friend. I'm glad you had a great celebration. And, we didn't touch on the two more favorable things here in town, which, of course, I don't know. You're with me on this. Happiness and joy sells more papers than all of this bitterness and sourpuss, mentality that we've unfortunately had here in town with a lot of teams. But the Heat and the Panthers doing well, so that gives us something maybe to have as a springboard into 2022. Thanks so much for joining us here on Ion Channel, Dave. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Defo.
All right, hi, man. Thanks.
All right, thanks very much. Yeah, we're worried about Mayo, man. I hope he looks all right on Friday when we do the Degenerate Friday show with the Gambling Gourmet. Jack has expressed concerns that he's eating too much. You see the pictures he's put up on that Let's Eat South Florida thing? It's his Facebook page he has here, and I guess anybody in the world can tap into it no matter where you're watching or listening to us. Yeah, Let's Eat South Florida, because if you're coming to South Florida, a lot of good ideas about restaurants and everything. But, I mean, unless he eats like 7 meals a day, I don't know when he has time to squeeze all of his food in. It's not like he's having a salad every once in a while either. I mean, I'm concerned
Very
about it.
heavy. Very heavy.
We already have concerns about the health and general well-being of all the people that appear on the shows, especially, we have the Trivia Challenge coming up on Thursday, and that's a spectacular. Brought to you by the great people at Hialeah Park, who you talk about really doing things well. Wow, are they making it happen? Frank Fiore, I mean, is very much on his game right now. They've had to set aside a lot of things in terms of entertainment and a different kind of things and events that take place at Hialeah Park. With the COVID and everything, but they're kind of coming out of that. They have been for a long time. They always had it taken care of, and we're doing the right thing. But, some big events. The Larry Little Golf Tournament, HialeahPark.com is where you can get more information on that. They have the Hall of Fame banquet, which is fantastic. I don't know if it's going to be emceed this year by the great Tony Segreto, but does a marvelous job. And Larry Little, a Hall of Famer, brings all of these Hall of Famers from all different teams and even other sports into the arena there, including the great Sam Jones, who's a delight to be around. And it's just a great, great time. And I believe you can purchase tickets for that thing and be a part of that. So check that out at HialeahPark.com. The handicapping tournament is coming up. That's with 2 seats, 2 tickets, 2 free entries into the NHC, the big one, the granddaddy of all handicapping tournaments. And that takes place at Bally's out in Las Vegas. I think that's going to happen in January of 2022. And there's a possible payout there of $1 million. All you have to do is buy in for $500 here. $300 is your own personal bankroll, and you compete against the other people in the competition there. You also get a prize fund if I happen to finish in the money there. I think they pay down 5 places, something like that. So more information on that. And the entry is right there on the website, HialeahPark.com. And I want to say that's December 12th that is happening, December 12th for the handicapping tournament. With not 1, but 2 free passages into the NHC. That includes airfare and hotel accommodations, and it's a blast. You're in there with like a zillion horse players and just having a good time, and there's nothing like a freebie trip to Las Vegas with a shot to win $1 million when you're in there with a chance. So you can enjoy that, and also in Hialeah Park just on a regular basis. I mean, so many great things going on. I see more jackpots being won in a casino. Steve Calabro doing a tremendous job there. El Boxeo, man, that boxing event is going to be tremendous. Lights out event in a great atmosphere right on the apron there at Hialeah Park with the seats going back into the stands. A perfect setup. It's like being at the Blue Horizon. It's like being at the Olympic in the old days where the place is rocking. And just great, and going to feature a lot of Cuban superstars that are on the professional scene right now. Not necessarily like making their pro debuts. These are accomplished guys. So you're going to love that. And more information and details at HialeahPark.com. Check it out for yourself. Great destination. It's beautiful, Hialeah Park. All right, we're coming back with more. Harvey Fialkoff going to join us here, an unabashed sports enthusiast. How much of the time that he's on the air will he spend? What percentage will be on the New York Yankees?
Oh, he must be bitter. They're not getting any of these people.
We'll ask him about King Richard, and he'll say, yeah, well, what about King George? Transition right into the Yankees.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter what question. You can ask him about, hey, what do you had for breakfast? Well, you know what? I had the breakfast of champions, and that reminds me of Mickey Mantle. And by the way, I can't believe we whiffed on Starling Marte. I don't want to do his bit for him. He's going to be coming on the show here. And Brett Tesler, the agent of the stars on the National Football League, as we have completed week number 12 of a 17-week NFL season. I guess it's more weeks than that.
18 weeks. It's 18 weeks, 17 games. Remember the buys.
Okay, well, teams have played 12 games that didn't have a bye yet. So much like the Miami Dolphins, they're sitting there at a very robust 5-7. All right, we're coming back with more. Harvey's going to join us. Brett Tesler, the agent of the stars. Brett's appearance brought to you by Will and Trust Attorney, and a great, great guy. He really does a tremendous job, Mr. Michael D. Wild. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubie Lubitz on on Channel, and we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:04.
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes. but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come. The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Buy or lease a house and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. That really scares me more than anything in life. Never mind losing all of your money gambling. Like, is there anything worse? You open the refrigerator door and you're thinking you're just going to put something in there from, because naturally you don't even bother to check in. You already ate something before you got to the hotel. And the minute you open the door, like a slot machine, the wheels start turning.
Yes. Yeah, don't even
and
bump
it's
into the...
$17. I mean, you may as well just buy your drinks on the plane. $17 for a little tiny... thing of vodka? You got to be kidding me.
It's almost like, that thing.
M&M's, $20 a pop. I mean, who's making the prices there? Joe Biden? What is that?
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Just buy your drinks on the personal obsession with the mini bar. I don't know what it is, but it's a shocker. It really is. It was like in the old days when you used to actually make phone calls from the hotel room phone. And I've told the story about that many times. It's what brought me my introduction to roulette, as in Russian. Welcome back to the show, by the way. Here on Ion Channel, Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz with you, originating from South Florida. Glad to have you guys along for the ride. IonChannel.com is where you find us, or just Google the Defo Show. And we have a couple of guests coming up in this hour of the program. Tomorrow we go old school with Tony Segreto. If he gives us that sanctimony of college football again. See, but where is it going? I mean, you would have thought that with a lot of these changes that were taking place and conference reconfigurations and defections and additions and all of college football was changing. The name and likeness deal where players now can openly get paid. And, you're looking at the possibility that maybe you would get, as you have in college basketball, some parity in college football where certain programs could excel. And yet it wouldn't necessarily take forever to come out of a doldrums and be a member of the elite. And you'll have teams pop up from year to year that you weren't anticipating. Whereas in college football, it's the same handful of teams pretty much every year. And it looks like it's just going to stay that way. Unless somehow Lincoln Riley can go to USC and resurrect what was a glorious history, as Dave Hyde mentioned. But wow, it's more mystifying to me. I mean, how USC, a private school, but with a fan base and also the alumni base that they have, and then on top of that, I mean, just as you would say, I don't know if you want to compare it to like an orange grove, but the fertile recruiting grounds.
Yes.
As the South Florida area is known, fertile recruiting grounds. I mean, they're so expansive there that you would figure that USC can't miss, and that UCLA was always going to be like the redheaded stepchild in town because they would get the guys that didn't get scholarships to USC. And then the rest of the pack, it was the Pac-8 when I was out there. How many years ago was that? But the Pac-12, they get a sampling of players from Los Angeles, but primarily they were all going to USC. So you would think that if Lincoln Riley can resurrect that syndrome, I don't know if it went away, but if he could do something there, that and they play a tough out-of-conference schedule. They always had Notre Dame on the schedule, and they have a couple of classic matchups USC every year, in addition to whatever cupcakes they've sprinkled in, but. If he can make it happen there, I mean that would be pretty remarkable. But where does that leave the rest of these teams? I mean, it's Alabama going to dominate. Clemson kind of fell off a little bit this year. I don't know, is the bloom off that rose, or
a little?
Is it just an aberration that they had a down season? Clemson.
No, I mean, Clemson. If people don't follow recruiting, but if you do, even when they were great, they would recruit like top 10-ish. Like last year, they had a really good class, but usually top 10-ish. They'd get a great quarterback, a great offensive lineman, a great defensive lineman, a great corner, but their class as a whole didn't compare to Bama, Ohio State, and Georgia. And what happens is, to win every year, you have to recruit top 3 to top 5, and you see that every once in a while if you're a team like a Clemson or an Oklahoma, where Oklahoma will be good every year, but they don't win like an Alabama or Georgia. And that's what happened to Clemson, and I think it's slowly going to catch up with them because they don't have them as good as Clemson's been, and they have some money. They don't have Bama money. They don't have Georgia money. They don't have USC money. They don't have Texas money. So they can only hang so much. What's interesting is Notre Dame does, and Oklahoma does. That's what I'm confused by. Like, Notre Dame and Oklahoma have money like the rest of the schools, and for some reason didn't pony up to keep their guys, which I don't understand.
You think by some bizarre quirk of fate there are limits? To what even the richest of the rich can spend? I mean, you don't think Phil Knight, could pony up for wherever he wants over at Oregon? I don't know who the big booster is at Oklahoma.
Well, there's a few.
What Oklahoma State has that, the oil guy, right?
Pickens,
yeah. Boone Pickens. T. Boone Pickens, yeah.
T-Boone.
Doesn't he sound like he should have a country hit song? Here's T. Boone Pickens here at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. Meanwhile, the guy's got gobs of money. I mean, he's got oil clogged in his pockets there. He's got so much dough. Incredible. And, maybe he gets Oklahoma State home finally after all of these years. Oklahoma, right? T-Boone is Oklahoma State, isn't he? T-Boone Pickens, yeah.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, yeah, because he's got that program, at a level that you wouldn't think they would be able to sustain. But it does leave the University of Miami and a lot of these schools, I think, in no man's land. Just not a great place to be. All right, speaking of no man's land, and we happy to have you with us here on Ion Channel. And it's great to be with you in this post-Thanksgiving week, as we're hoping that people are still functioning and ready to roll into the Christmas season. Happy Hanukkah to all of our Jewish friends out there that are celebrating Hanukkah. Seeing a lot of that. Potato latkes seems to be the food of choice, huh? Potato latkes?
Yes, sir.
Is that? Are you inclined to, at the Lubitz family dinners and gatherings, have a bunch of potato latkes? Nothing like a heavily battered fried potato to get your post-Thanksgiving diet started. Came up a little bit too soon for me. All right, Harvey Fialkoff going to join us here on the program. And do we have Harvey there, Lubie? You're sending me a message. Yes, okay, good. Harvey Fialkoff, of course, longtime sports writer here in South Florida, and now a universal sports writer covering a lot of different things. And always great having Harvey on the program. I mean, just uncompromising sports fan. Loves every minute of it, and very versatile in the things that he covered during his many years as a sports writer here. Harvey, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving week, and welcome to the show. Or post Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and happy Hanukkah as well.
Yeah.
Hanukkah's
Happy
early this
Hanukkah,
year,
exactly.
So, yeah, my wife's having an affair with the Amazon driver. He brings her presents every day. I mean, it's unbelievable. The packages are mounting up. Yeah, it's been crazy few weeks, Jeff and Mikey and Lubie.
Yes, sir.
A few weeks ago, it was all about the Heat and the Panthers. The Dolphin season was basically over, and now reverse it. The Dolphins are alive and kicking. The Heat can't beat Denver and Jokic, and even get beat up by them. And even the Panthers, without Barkov, were starting to lose a couple of games here and there at home. They were going for that greatest start in NHL history, 11 in a row at home. They tied it. They couldn't get number 12. So crazy. Now the Dolphins can win out. What do you think?
It's not inconceivable. I don't know that they do. I think it comes back very much like last year, where and you know how this goes. It's like the body shots early in a boxing match. Those 7 losses have to sting at one point. They come back to bite you, and you end up losing an oddball game towards the end, and it knocks out your chances of making the postseason, which the best they could do anyway is 10-7. I don't know if that's good enough to make it in the AFC. You would have to think it certainly would be possible. But I do see them getting to 7-7 the way they played this past Sunday.
Yeah.
Because the G-men are not very good, and the Jets we know are horrible.
And how about the Saints without Drew Brees at 5-6, very beatable. And the Patriots, the end of the year was the Patriots, and they beat them 17-16 before Mac Jones became Tom Brady light. And I got to admit, some of the wins early in this 4-game winning streak were kind of like they were weak, lousy offense, good defense. But against Carolina, you cannot take anything away. They played great on both sides of the ball. And Tua was so efficient and right on. His marksmanship was amazing. And the defense was swarming. Waddle looked like a Pro Bowler. If only he had some help on the other side, like if this guy Fuller ever gets off the milk carton to help him out. But right now, that was their best complete game of the season on Sunday.
Yeah, and very impressive. Started out with a big play on special teams and then rallied. Now for 4 wins in a row. And yet, I don't know, has anybody really established themselves in the NFL as the team to beat? I'm having trouble buying into Arizona going all the way, even though they have posted the best record so far. Green Bay, certainly looks solid in spots when Aaron Rodgers is on his game, which is most of the time. Kansas City may be reemerging at this point, although they have to convince some people. It does appear to be pretty wide open to win the Super Bowl championship in the NFL this year.
Seattle, what's happened to Seattle? What a shocking downfall! I mean, just remarkable. Russell Wilson was the next. He was going to be in Canton before he retired. And last night was embarrassing. I don't know what happened on that onside kick. I had the sound off. Please explain why they didn't get the recovery on that first onside kick. I was falling asleep. Why wasn't that a successful onside kick? Did you guys see it?
I didn't see that play.
The
game became of little interest to me as I was laying 1 point with I was getting 1 point with Seattle, getting 1.
Well, I was watching the Heat game also, and by the way, without Butler and Hero, the Miami Heat are an ordinary team. They're not a playoff team, obviously. And I think it's time that Max Strus is on the loose, and he needs to take over for Duncan Robinson, who cannot get his own shot. Teams are focusing on him. He's really having a horrible season. And this guy Strus does more things on the court than Duncan. I think Duncan needs to come off the bench right now because he's embarrassing himself with some of his shots.
All right. I mean, this was the guy that they had to have.
Yeah, exactly.
And, everybody loved him a year ago, and they found a way to defense him. The Heat always seem to manufacture a way to come through, and obviously any team losing its top 2 guys in the NBA probably would end up being hard-pressed to do anything. They were down in that ball game all the way and really never got into it. The good thing was I'm glad they let this go with Jokic. Although, Marquise Morris definitely got the worst of it. Hasn't played since that incident. I mean, it's almost Kermit Washington on Rudy Tomjanovich the way that went down.
I know, you get a little push in the back, and you're not playing for a month and a half.
You could see his neck snap, though. I mean, they're saying he has whiplash issues, which as his head kind of hits the floor, I mean, his neck really snapped when he got whacked in the back there by Jokic.
I've had that before driving, but never on the basketball court. The other loss was great last night. And so did that kid who didn't miss a shot. But Djokovic, well, he just proved why he's the MVP of the league last year. And this year, he's right up. He'll be a candidate again. Doesn't play for, like 6 games with his wrist sprain. And last night, the guy is like a 7-foot Larry Bird. The way he sees the court, he hits 3-pointers. He gets rebounds. He's getting layups. I mean, they couldn't stop. He's like man mountain. I mean, Bam just falls off him, and Dedmon couldn't stop him. He's just a beautiful player to watch. The way he can see the whole court from everywhere. He throws it 30 feet across court. You think it's a lousy pass, and it's right in his player's hands for a wide open tray. So just a beautiful player to watch. I really enjoy him.
Interesting is, I believe is it tonight? Golden State and Phoenix. Do they meet tonight or tomorrow night in the NBA? Golden State 18-2. Klay Thompson coming back. The report was that he was in a G League practice, hit his first 18 shots.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson coming to an 18-2 team, and Phoenix has won 16 in a row. Yep. With Lubie's favorite player, Devin Booker, leading the way there. Where, unfortunately, dare I mention Justice Winslow, my friend?
The Heat point guard of the future, right? Devin Booker's a beautiful player to watch, but Steph Curry, boy, he deserves MVP votes already. This guy's on fire. See, the other night, the ref teed him up, and he was really angry about it. He thought he got fouled on the play. Comes down the court, hits a fadeaway 3, and then he gives the ref the T sign.
They should have teed him up again if it wasn't Steph Curry.
That's right. He could have. That was sarcastic, man, in a way. But Curry's just too lovable. He's so cute, and the whole family could still score. I mean, what a family of shooters! Arguably the best shooting family in the history of sports. Rick Barry's family is pretty good too. The John Barry and all the Barry boys, but Curry, Del Curry could light it up from anywhere. His brother Seth, and even his mother could knock it down from 3. So I love watching the Curry.
None of the Barrys could do what Rick Barry could do. Whereas Del Curry was a great shooter, and a lot of people don't remember him because it's a bygone era, but his 2 kids, especially Steph, far exceeded anything that this guy was doing, and he was great. So, that has to be the Mannings of basketball.
Exactly.
If you're talking about the Curry family right now. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there because something has to give. I think Golden State has won 7 straight, and the Phoenix Suns, after like a 1-3 start, have won 16 in a row.
Insane.
And including a victory over your New York Knicks, who have really tailed off this year. What do you make of Kemba Walker going to the Pines there?
Well, I thought he was a shot fighter a few years ago. I did not want Kemba Walker on the Heat. They were talking about it. No, this guy has lost a lot. That's a great move, putting in Burks instead of Kemba. I love the Knicks. They go like 9 deep. But the thing is, Julius Randle, he puts too much on himself late in games, and he forces it. Early in the game, he goes into the flow of how the game is coming to him. But then he thinks he's got to play hero ball in the fourth quarter, and usually he's gassed or he's just always short on the shot. So he's got to learn how to pace himself during a game because right now he's hurting them in crunch time. But Jalen, I mean, how about Rose, Derrick Rose? This guy. How many lives? He's got like 9 lives. The guy's had such serious injuries in his career, and he's still got hops, and he's got great moves. He can still knock down the 3. He's a beautiful passer. He should be comeback player of the year if he keeps this up. But I know he was just coming off an injury as well. But hey, the Eastern Conference is rough. Mean, there's nobody dominating that really. Like you say, the Phoenix and Golden State out west, but in the East, I mean, who do you love there? I mean, the Nets without Kyrie are certainly handling themselves, handling business, but the Sixers are overrated, and Milwaukee, Giannis is, I don't know, they're just kind of treading water. They're not dominating. They're the NBA champ. So I think it's wide open, Jeff, and that's why the Heat just got to get healthy, and I think the Heat to be battling the Nets for supremacy in the East before the season's over.
Chicken circuit. That's what did the Milwaukee Bucks in. Remember the old chicken circuit theory? Yeah, that the team would get fat at all the banquets during the off season, and it would ultimately impact their following year, where they end up playing like crud. Harvey Fialkoff, a longtime sports writer here in South Florida, with us on Ion Channel on the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest and Mike Lubitz.
Yes, sir.
And Harvey, you are very much entrenched in tennis coverage. What's going on with the tournaments there, and where can we find your articles?
Well, yeah, I love the Orange Bowl. Junior Tennis Championship begins this week in Plantation's LT Tennis Center. That's my home court. You can see some of the best players in the world, juniors, 18 and 16. And then I'm covering the Junior Orange Bowl, 12s and 14s out in Coral Gables. It's beautiful, free tennis. Anyone could watch. These are stars. I'm going to be focusing on Leighton Hewitt's kid, Cruz Hewitt, Lindsay Davenport, and Rick Leach has their son in it, Jaeger Leach. Even Bob McAdoo has a grandson playing in the 14.
Wow.
Robert McAdoo Jr.
Wow.
McAdoo, he used to love tennis. He wanted to play me, and we just couldn't get it together. Imagine trying to lob over Big Bob. But it's going to be fun because right now, the regular tennis season, ATP, WTA, they're on hiatus until the Australian Open. If that ever happens with all the, the quarantine.
We've had Catholic
going to play, but yeah.
No, go ahead there.
Great tennis. And I'll be
unfortunate intrusion.
Check the Orange Bowl website, guys. I'll be on the Orange Bowl committee website writing for the next few weeks. But I want you to get to the Yankees. Brian Cashman's in a coma. Wake him up.
Took him a while.
He's losing everybody. Scherzer. There you go.
12 minutes in. It took him 12 minutes.
Anyone. What is Cashman doing, Lubie? What is he doing? Fire this guy. George Steinbrenner is rolling over in his grave at the Yankees. They still got Gary Sanchez, the worst defensive catcher in history. They didn't get Sterling Marte. The Mets stole him. I mean, right now, he's sitting on his hands. And he's got Joey Gallo. He's trying. You can't get rid of this guy for a bottle of Gallo wine. It's the worst. He makes Dave Kingman look like a contact hitter. I mean, the guy's awful. I mean, right now, I don't know what Brian Cashman is doing. I think he must be on a beach in Hawaii somewhere. Wake him up or fire him. Get him out of there.
All right, that was good. Most people that had the over are cashing. It took you 12 minutes to transition into a Yankee conversation.
Good for him.
Harvey, always a pleasure. I know you and the Fialkoffs. I saw some pictures on Facebook of you and the family. A fantastic Thanksgiving celebration. So we appreciate you coming on the show and getting us restarted here as we try to breathe some life into December, heading into another massive couple of weeks of holiday session. So thanks so much for being with us here on the show.
My pleasure, guy. Break up the Dolphins. They're going to win them all.
There you go. Break them up. Thanks, Harvey, man.
He does feel that Yankee entitlement, doesn't he?
I love it.
He should have every player, yeah.
Well,
it took him a while, though, to get to it. Yeah.
They were getting everyone. They were going to get Seager. They were going to get Marte. They were going to get everyone, and they've got no one.
Scherzer. Yeah.
Yeah, Scherzer. Yep. And they got nobody. So I love it. And I love that it took him that long. Good for him. That was patience. It must have killed him.
It is incredible, though, to think. I mean, what do the Rays brass do? Or do they even have the finances to assemble during the offseason? What do you think? They just get on some kind of Zoom call together and
they're like, go.
Hey, listen, we can't fly all you guys into Tampa. We have to save some money here, so let's get on a Zoom call and just have a celebration, laughing at all these other franchises in Major League Baseball. The Texas Rangers just all out $500 million for two players.
Yep.
$500 million. The Mick has to be rolling over in his grave, huh? Mickey Mantle.
Well, good.
Number seven. Unbelievable. You always wonder, I mean, what these guys would have been worth. But the money has to be coming from what? All of these different broadcast outlets. And what do you need to feed all of these networks, including like Ion Channel? You need content, right, Lubie?
Yes, sir. It's all about content.
That's why whatever minor value we have to the company right now, we at least have some value.
We hope.
Because without content, you got nothing. All right, so hopefully we'll continue to produce some more for you here on Ion Channel. Deal Volkswagen, a great place. When they have their inventory in full supply, when these chains of commands or whatever that is making deliveries stall out, finally getting a little bit loose here. So they have more cars than they've had in recent months, and they're selling them at the right price at DL Volkswagen. And her team, they do a tremendous job. They're great people to deal with. Jersey Kyle just scored another beautiful car. Got a Tiguan for the lovely Corey. And came in there in like an hour, I think less than an hour from the time that she was eyeballing the inventory till the time they actually drove off the showroom floor there. They'll deliver the car to you. They're fantastic in that regard. You can find them at dealvolkswagen.com. If you're even out of the state, it's worth looking onto the website there and checking out the prices, especially with their certified pre-owns. They have a special showroom dedicated to certified pre-owned vehicles. That's right across the street in Coral Gables, Florida, at 3650 Bird Road, right there on US 1. And what you will find there and online are just phenomenal prices. I mean, way under what anybody's charging for these kind of vehicles, for commensurate cars, and cars that have similar characteristics, which is low mileage and clean as a whistle and mechanically as sound as they come. Check out the certified pre-owns no matter where you are, no matter where you're watching here or listening to the show at Deal Volkswagen at 3601 Bird Road, right there in the heart of Coral Gables.
Want to break? We don't want to break.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I was thinking about those certified pre-owns for a second here. And
like, how many cars do you want? You're like, you already have a nice car. You're good.
Yeah, I don't need another one, but you guys can take advantage.
I will.
All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. The agent to the stars, Brett Tesler, going to join us here. I couldn't think. I was blanking on the name Jeff Petrie. That's why I spaced out. Because it was Jeff Petrie that beat Bob McAdoo, as Harvey referenced in the Vitalis one-on-one. And I couldn't think of who was this schmanky lefty about 6'5". And he wasn't a great ball player. I believe Portland Trailblazers, was where he kind of carved out his niche in the NBA. Jeff Petrie.
Yeah.
Check him out. But to this day, McAdoo still gets steam coming out of his ears if you mention Jeff Petrie in the Vitalis one-on-one because he thought he got jobbed. He couldn't believe he lost to this guy. 6'10" McAdoo, who 6'11", I think. Shoot from the outside. He could play inside. I mean, he was outstanding in all aspects of the game. You couldn't stop this guy. He was the forerunner to Olajuwon.
Yep.
And he loses to Jeff Petrie, Vitalis one-on-one, which was the halftime entertainment at the NBA level at that time. And I wish they would bring it back. It's a lot better than, 6 guys schlubbering on. Well, you know what? If the Bulls could shoot the ball inside, nobody shoots the ball inside anymore. Everything is a 3. 53 is a game. It's incredible. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
I knew I could do it, Lubie. It's 8:31.
I'm proud of you.
It's the Gambling Gourmet for Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale. It's one of my favorite places. It is old school joint that's serving Spanish and classic continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly setting. It's at 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. They're open every day except Sunday for dinner, starting at 5 p.m. You go in there, you see Joey and his better half, Sally. They are giving the greatest in service. And the food, oh my gosh, it's paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, stuffed veal chop. They serve this great, fantastic, warm sourdough bread. Go to Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale and tell them that the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development, and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come.
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen.
The simple pleasures of this job, the way a stadium sounds when one of my players performs well on the field, the way we are meant to protect them in health and in injury. Less work, more attention, caring for them, caring for ourselves in the games too.
The agent to the stars, the one and only Brett Tessler.
Welcome back to the show. Good to have you with us here on this fine Tuesday. Jeff Deforrest, Michael Lubie, Lubitz, the Defo Show on ION Channel, broadcasting in both audio and video all over the universe here, many different platforms. All you have to do is Google the Defo Show, tell your friends about it, and we are happy to be with you here in Jack Namer's paradise, broadcasting paradise, known as ION Channel. Later on this week, we go old school with Tony Segreto. That'll happen tomorrow on the program. The great Tony Segreto. The Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge airs on Thursday. We'll have the boys there, and it's always a good time, a chance to win some prizes there as well. And you can also catch us on our Degenerate Friday show. We'll be kind of superimposed over Gulfstream Park and having a good time as the championship meet gets underway this week. Joining us right now, the agent to the stars, and his appearance on our program brought to you by Will and Trust attorney and estate planner extraordinaire, Mr. Michael D. Wild, and his fine law firm. They do great work. And so there's this gentleman, as we welcome the agent to the stars, Brett Tessler, to the program. Brett, how are you, my friend?
Doing great, Keith. Thank you.
How was the Thanksgiving? Now, you go kind of woodsman when you're in your digs in Wisconsin there. Did you go out there with a double barrel and mow down your own turkey? How did that go?
It's funny, Deeks, that there are a lot of turkeys, wild turkeys out there. It's one of our favorite things to kind of see. You'll see a pack of them crossing the road. I don't know if it's coincidence, but it seemed like on this trip close to Thanksgiving, we saw a few less. But no, we didn't kill anything or cook anything. We went to the resort nearby and let them do all the work.
It occurred to me watching some of the happenings over the weekend, especially with regard to injuries. This league is relentless, man. It's brutal. McCaffrey's out for the season now. Seen a lot of stars go down, teams compromised by injury. And I know we've discussed this many times because here we are. Most teams have contested and completed 12 games already, and there's still 5 to go. Now, I know it made a differential, I guess, on the monetary side, so that, in essence, is favorable to players. But how much impact do you think this extra game does not seem like a great idea? It's kind of like after the unfortunate passing in the ring of Dooku Kim. As a result of that Boom Boom Mancini fight, boxing finally said, you know what? If guys are tired, they have even more chance of getting seriously hurt.
Yep.
And so I don't know. I mean, what do you make of that? We have load management in the NBA. I mean, do you think that's going to have a serious impact? Because we have some very, very prominent injuries, and they seem to pop up every week. That they have obviously in seasons past, but this year, it seems like it's going to be a really arduous road to the finish line.
Well, the reality is you won't really know exactly what the effect is of a 17th game until you get to the 17th week and a non-playoff team has one of their players get injured in the final game. I mean, that's the truest way to be able to say with certainty that what happened in that game obviously would not have happened had there not been that game. So as we are right, football guys are going to get injured naturally. The more games, the more injuries. I never liked the idea of a 17th game, aside from the obvious reasons of injuries, which as an agent is my main concern first and foremost. As a fan of the sport, 17 is just a stupid number. You know what I mean? Like it's not even. It's it's like everything should have an even number. There should be even conferences with even numbers of teams within a division. There should be even amount of games. So 17 is just a really dumb number to have as your season. They should have just waited and insisted on the 18 that they're obviously inevitably going to be getting at some point anyway. So there's that. But again, the thing that always made football so great is the fact that it was 16 weeks. It was on Sunday, and maybe, you'd have your one Monday night game that everybody, it was must-watch TV.
Yeah.
So now it's watered down. You've got Monday, you've got Thursday, you've got some Saturdays coming up now. You've got Sunday. So over half the days of the week is NFL football. And so that kind of takes away a little bit of the mystique and the desire of it. And again, I just feel like sometimes more is less. And I feel like that's the case here. And obviously, the ratings are higher than ever. And so the teams are making more money than ever. And that's clearly what's of the most importance to them. And that's okay. But the thing is, you have to look at the big picture. And sometimes, again, more is less.
I asked a boxing trainer once how he was able to break it to a fighter that, it was over. And he said, that was pretty easy. I just handed him a copy of the classifieds and I said, it's time to find a new line of work. I was thinking of this in conjunction with Cam Newton, where you're watching a guy that looks like a shot fighter. I mean, I don't know if you've been in a situation as an agent where you had to kind of suggest to somebody that maybe this wasn't in his best interest to continue playing. How do you handle that sort of thing? I mean, and should somebody point out to Newton, obviously believes he can still do it, that, maybe it's time to reconsider?
Well, unfortunately for most players in this profession, you find out that you can no longer do it when nobody is willing to pay you to continue to do it. So as long as some team is foolishly willing to pay a guy who clearly has nothing left, you can't blame him for taking it. And so, I think that's kind of what we're seeing going on here. And to his credit and to his agent's credit, if somebody's offering you, a large amount of money to come play, take it. And if your performance is not up to par, it's not really your fault. You're doing the best you can. And, I think it's very safe to assume that had Cam not gotten that opportunity there and now, I don't think we would have been seeing him get another opportunity anywhere at any point. So you get what you pay for. And I think, this last performance is clearly where we've seen his career trajectory heading over the last year or two.
We're talking to NFL Agent to the Stars. He's great on Facebook. Brett Tessler on Twitter at TesslerSports here on the Defo Show on Ion channel. Tess, man, so it's funny, we see all this money flying around in college football where they talk about the coaches are like, you can't miss a game, you got to be here for the team, but loyalty means nothing to the coaches. I'm curious, when you're doing contracts, because NFL is such a, like you just said, most players end their career because no one wants them. Does loyalty ever factor in? Like, do these players a lot of the time, because we'll see players once in a while just hang with an organization for a really long time, past the time they should. Does loyalty ever factor in? Like, do your players ever come to you and say, I really want to stay here, and sometimes money's given up, or is it really just about the money?
Loyalty rarely factors in from the team to the player standpoint.
Yeah.
From the player to the team standpoint, it factors in more than you might expect. And it's not necessarily just about loyalty to the team. It's about loyalty to, if you're a player that has a family, it's loyalty to your kids, to keep them somewhere where they're happy and where they're comfortable in school and where they have friends. It's loyalty to your wife, somewhere that obviously she wants to be, because happy wife, happy life.
Exactly.
And, you know, then there's other factors that come into play, things like state taxes, things like that. So, you know, there's a variety of reasons why a player might take less money to stay in one city as opposed to going to another. But from the team standpoint, usually the teams, I hate to say it, that have the most success, i.e. the Patriots, are the teams that have the least loyalty of anybody, in the way that Belichick would obviously cut his own mother. And,
even when she had some shelf life left.
Exactly.
Yes.
She still was good.
Still could cook and do everything.
If that's what it took to clear cap space and to win and get younger and cheaper, he would do it. And so, you know, that's what the successful teams do. And so it's just kind of the unfortunate nature of this business, because, you know, in a sport where salary cap is not an issue, like baseball or whatever, then you can sort of keep a guy past his prime to be a cheerleader or to reward him for past, you know, accomplishments.
Yeah, like the Heat with Haslam.
But in the NFL, exactly, Lubie. You know, but there is a salary cap there, but it's a little different. In our league, you know, there's too many things that factors in. There's injuries at other positions where teams need roster spots. They can't just keep guys around that really aren't carrying their weight.
All right, we have 12 games in the books for most teams in the National Football League. Brett Tessler, the agent of the Stars, with us. His appearance brought to you by Will and Trust attorney, state planner, Mr. Michael D. Wild. What do you see? And is there anything that we can take a look at and tangibly define as being real in terms of what teams are legitimate contenders to win a Super Bowl this year? Or is this as wide open as you've ever seen it in the last 10 years, Brett Tessler, to try and determine who might evolve and eventually be the champion?
It's as wide open as it's ever been. I mean, it seems like every single team is 6-6 or 5-7 or, 7-5. And so, obviously, the three hottest teams in the league right now are the Patriots, which is just absolutely amazing, a true testament to Belichick's greatness. I think it's so funny how all of a sudden everybody thinks this guy forgot how to coach or run a team because they had a 1-year rebuild, you know, after 20 years of dominance. So I thought that was pretty funny. And, now in Mac Jones, I'm telling you right now, Deef, I was there for Brady's rookie year, as in I was literally there, as in I stayed with him, because one of my clients at that time, one of my first draft picks, got drafted in the 6th round with him by the Patriots that year, and they knew each other from the Big Ten, and they ended up rooming together. And I was only, a year or two older than those guys, so I actually went and stayed. So, I mean, I saw him progress that season, which was his 2nd year. I saw him, become the starter. I saw him lead the team. I was there when they won that Super Bowl. And I'm telling you right now, at this juncture of his career, Mac Jones might actually be doing his job a little more efficiently and better than even Tom was at that point. And that's not to say that Mac Jones is going to go on to win 7 Super Bowls or become the new GOAT. But, man, what are the chances that Belichick essentially, to find Tom Brady is 1 in a billion. What are the chances that he might have found the next closest thing there has ever been since and may ever be again? And he managed to do it without one of the very top picks in the draft. So the man's greatness is just, it's inexplicable. And so
you sounded like Dennis Hopper talking about Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now. Yeah, the man is the man.
Yeah. And, then you've got the Chiefs who, finally gotten their heads out of their ass, and they've won 4 in a row, and they're looking like you expect the Chiefs to look. And then you've got the Miami Dolphins with the 2nd best winning streak in the entire NFL.
Wow.
Tied with the Chiefs, only behind the Patriots. And so I'm telling you right now, look out for the Dolphins. It's probably the most amazing thing I've seen, because this team a month ago, a month and a half ago, I really didn't think there was anybody they could beat, literally. I mean, it just looked like things were bad and getting worse by the minute. And somehow, some way, something clicked over there. Obviously, you're seeing Tua do what he does well, which is, deliver accurate balls and make pretty good decisions. And this is what we talked about from the start of the season. This is why this season was so important for him and the franchise, because it was going to let everybody know whether this is a guy that you can move ahead with. And the way he's playing now, the answer is unequivocally yes. And, if Deshaun Watson was a guy that they felt like they needed to go after a few months ago, well, maybe at this point, go ahead and save your 3 first-round picks and whatever else you would have to get to, give to get that guy, and just let Tua continue to progress in this system and continue to bolster his protection over time and continue to give him more weapons and establish a real running game. And you know what? Maybe this team actually is heading in the right direction.
It's interesting, too. Does Lubie owe Chris Greer a letter of apology, an open letter of apology?
I still think
we're looking at this kid Holland coming along at the safety position. Tua has like a Phil Simms game, 27 out of 31. Waddle looks great. He's got great speed and instincts. And this guy Phillips comes up with 3 sacks. Now, these were all draft picks that were part of the overall mockery that Lubie thought Chris Greer was making of the draft. So maybe, do we owe him an apology? Is it possible that it just took these guys a little bit of time to blossom and that they finally figured it out?
Igbo sucks.
I know Chris, he wouldn't want anyone's apologies. He's a guy who just kind of does
Especially Lubie's, yeah.
And it just goes through. Well, honestly, guys, it really is the nature of the beast. And, anybody who is in his position understands what comes along with it. And, the one thing that I would say, again, did I see any indication a month and a half ago that the Dolphins were primed for a 4-game winning streak and coming into a part of their schedule that could parlay into more wins? No, it's remarkable, but it goes to show it truly is a long season. And it just reminds everybody that, who might have been the biggest schmuck 6 weeks ago is a genius today. And,
I often feel that way, yes.
may end up becoming the biggest genius by the end of the year. So it is a long season and anything can happen. And look, the same way the Dolphins found a way to win their last 4, it proves that it's obviously possible they could win their next 4. And if they go on a streak, this team could, finish this season somewhere in the 10-7 or, something.
Even hard to figure, yeah.
9-8 or
9-8, yeah. It's another 9-8 year for the Dolphins. Yeah, you're right about that odd number of games. That's ridiculous. Yeah,
it's
crazy.
It absolutely stinks. I'd like to slap someone in the face for that.
Let me guess who. Yeah. Yeah. Now, let's face this also, Brett Tusser. If you're looking for excellence, there's one place that you can turn, and you can't take this seriously or do it soon enough. And that is get your affairs in order and or plan out what's going to happen with your estate. Michael D. Wild, I couldn't recommend them any more highly. I know you love the guy, and you recommend them to many of your clients who have taken advantage of his great services. How do people get a hold of Michael D. Wild and have them plan out their estate and affairs for their lifetime?
You reach out to him at southfloidawills.com, Defo. And the thing that's so unique about him is down here in South Florida, there's a lot of people that are really great at what they do, but they're not really great to deal with. Either not professional, not responsive. And then there's other people who are really great people, but aren't really great at what they do. In the case of Michael Wild, you get the best of both worlds. There is no better estate planning attorney out there and no better person to work with who is on the ball, genuinely cares about what's best for you and your family. And that's why anybody out there listening that needs to get estate plans, LLCs, asset protection, anything that you're not sure whether or not he does, reach out to Michael Wild, southfloidawills.com and find out. It'll be the best decision you made.
All right, we'll see if the Dolphins can keep it going. Been kind of a remarkable turnaround. And, of course, lots of activity all around the NFL on tap for this week. Brett Tesler, Agent to the Stars, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure's mine, guys. Have a great week.
Be well, Tess, man.
All right. I'm glad he didn't grab a shotgun there. Go turkey hunting. He has that woodsman thing going there. Yeah, people get out there like Tony in Vermont. All of a sudden, he's chopping wood. Incredible.
It's great.
All right, maybe you're chopping wood, trying to figure out what to do about your insurance plan. If you're trying to identify the most affordable health insurance plan, let's face it, finding health insurance can be very, very complicated. And you hear a lot of cockamamie stories. There are like 100 competing ads for like the Medicare supplement alone on TV. So which one do you take? They don't tell you, well, this happens to be an HMO. You'll never be able to go to another doctor again. That's in the fine print underneath. So you need a straight count HST insurance. They can help you whether you're looking for yourself or a plan for your family. They have a plan that's ideally suited for you. Their trusted advisors can find that plan that meets your needs today at the right price as well. Call them at 855-282-8022, 855-282-8022 for HST Insurance. All right, we'll come back and wrap things up on this Tuesday. It's flown by. Tomorrow we have Tony Segreto going old school with us. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants and the great people at Catholic Health Services. The Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge airs on Thursday with the Polyman Paul Massell and the great Dave Gurgles Gurgley. I think Gurgles really took like a duck to water to the new format there. With the video streaming, Lubie, did you catch that? Gurgles was a natural on this thing.
Great job.
And the Polyman will be with us as well. And then Degenerate Friday with Jersey Kyle. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, joins us on that program. And our handicappers, who for the most part, I don't know how they did last week, but they have been red hot all season long. The Professor and Mark Lawrence giving you some college and professional football insight. And this is coming from a couple of real experts that do their homework, know all the different angles, and aren't bad at picking games. So that's good. My friend Francesco up like 20 games. On me now. Over 500. I don't want to give you the unit there. The measuring stick there is quite high at this point. I may have to leave the country. That could happen. Remember when Lipschitz left the country for a while? Louis to Lipschitz. I was on a minor winning streak, and all of a sudden, my bookie Lipschitz splits. Lipschitz became Lip Splits. Yeah, nowhere to be heard from. Then I started losing again. All of a sudden, he's back. Graveyard, 10 o'clock Monday. Be there.
Exactly.
All right, coming back with more. We'll wrap things up on this edition of the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, and returning in a moment. Now that. The time. 8:55 already. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Hey, it's Mike Mayo for Even Keel Fish Shack, corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard at Lauderdale by the Sea. It's my favorite place now for great seafood in a casual beachfront setting. They've got happy hour 4 to 7 Monday through Friday. They've got great dishes like grilled oysters and oysters on the half shell, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, octopus. They also have burgers and chicken for those who don't like the seafood. They're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack. Go say hi to Dave and Brad and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. Very glad to have Rob Schneider, extraordinary comedian, with us here on the program.
My
Yes.
dad was Jewish. My mom's Filipino. It's like the perfect storm of small penises.
It's now time for the Defo Show.
Been a lot of fun being with you all morning long. Flown by pretty quickly. Our thanks to Dave Hyde for joining us here on the show. Harvey Fialkoff, of course. Always a lot of fun to talk sports with Harvey, and Brett Tesler, the agent to the stars, with us on the program today. Tomorrow we go old school with Tony Segreto, and that'll take place in the second hour of the program. A little freewheeling in the first hour, as per usual. And, of course, Thursday, the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Always a lot of fun with Dave Gurgles Gurgley and the Polyman Paul Massell, and all of our special effects, including the new Lubie camp. Can't wait to get back and see that thing in action. And a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by the people at Gulfstream Park, takes place on Friday here on Ion Channel. Our thanks to the people at Ion Channel, as always, for their fine technical expertise and unwavering support here on the program. And Lubie, have a great day, my friend. We'll catch you later on a little after hours. Hannah B. from The Bachelorette, going to be a special guest. She won on Dancing with the Stars, really knocked it out of the park. A very talented young lady. Experienced anxiety as a kid, was afraid to come out of her shell, and all of a sudden blossomed into this reality TV show star. Incredible. I think she also was like a runner-up or something on The Bachelor.
Yeah, the triple threat. The triumvirate.
Then she was on everything. She was on like Entertainment Tonight. Now she's got a book out. Well, we got to get busy, is what that tells me.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. We'll be coming your way later with the After Hours Believe Podcast Network. And, of course, tomorrow, right here, 7 o'clock, we'll line up again with another edition of the Defo Show on Ion Channel. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff Deforrest. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 as we leave you now that.
The time.
Is that Eastern time? Yes, it is. 9 o'clock.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.